They say that this is the fun way to brew coffee, and we're going to find out. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee Q&A. We're still continuing our journey of exploring the OXO Rapid Brewer because there's just so many recipes out there to try. We've done recipes from Wide Awake PH, we've done recipes from Lance Hedrick, and now we're going to do recipes from the cats over at Intelligentsia. And this particular one is what they call the cold brew, hot brew, cold, right? Hot brew, cold brew. Yeah, hot bloom, cold brew. So we're going to bloom the coffee hot, and then we're going to add cold water to make it into a cold brew. Kyoni, aloha to you. Mom, how are you doing this morning, Bryant? And so what this means is that we're going to take a fairly high ratio of coffee, 40 grams to 50 milliliters of water, and we're going to let that kind of bloom and brew and do its thing, and then we're going to add room temperature water to dilute that. Is that right? Yeah, we're going to dilute that, and then finally afterwards, and then we're going to push that through the coffee, and then when we're all done, we're going to bypass. We're going to add water to it to bring it to a total volume of 500 milliliters, right? So this is a 40-gram coffee, 40 grams of coffee to 500 milliliters of water, or to make a 500 milliliter serving. So so whatever ratio that is, 1 to 11, I don't know. I don't know ratios. I'm not very good. Now, this is double the amount of coffee that we've been putting into our OXO cold brew for the other recipes. So let's find out what's going to happen. Maku, how are you? Good morning. Kent, good afternoon to you, Kent. So as you know, the OXO cold brew, by the way, if we have just a little bit of housekeeping, let me know in case the audio stops. My transmitter and receivers, I forgot to plug them in over the last 2 days, and I've been using them recording other videos, and I was using it today. I set it up today, and I noticed that the transmitter was almost out of power. And as I can see, the receiver was almost out of power. And as I can see on the receiver's battery indicator, the transmitter still is pretty good. So, but if it cuts out, then let me know. I'm going to try to keep an eye on it. We may have to switch to a different microphone, but that's all right. All right, so this is the OXO cold brew. And as you know, there's 3 components to it. There's the pump section. So it's pumping air through the chamber, and you put the coffee down here, and it pumps the air through. And so we want to take this apart. Oh, you know what we need to do? There's something that I was meaning to look for that I totally have. It slipped my mind as we were getting ready today. And I don't know if I actually know where it is. You know, I've got all this like brewing gear, and you just don't know when you have all this stuff, like where everything went. You think you know, and then you start looking for it, and then you realize that, oh, you really don't know what anything is, and you may just have to forego it. And since it's one of those devices that I never use, I just never use it. Like, I don't really think about it. Like, it's interesting, you know, it's so interesting when you think about things. It's like, there are items in coffee brewing that some people find so essential, and that it's like a critical factor for them to use at all times. Whereas, you know, for yourself, you may find that, oh, you don't really care about that. It's not a big deal. You would never, or maybe you would never use it because you're not a charlatan. Here it is. Okay, great. I do have it, and then I don't know even. There's another piece of gear that I was thinking about using because the guys in Intelligentsia were using their video, and I was like, man, do I need that? And I was going to get it, and I don't know if it's maybe it's at the store, at the shop, and it probably is because, you know, I don't really, another piece of gear that I just don't really care about, right? So, all right, now we're back. Coffee Cove, good morning to you. Nate F is with us. I had soup espresso this morning from my OXO Rapid, 22 grams of coffee on a 4-3 setting on my one. You know, before like power plant comes in, it's like, you know, it's not 1Z, it's not 1Z presso, it's easy presso. Yeah, got it. I'm on it. I'm on it. On my see, I just can't help it. I can't help it. I'm so American, right? On my Easy Presso 1 Ultra, is that right? Easy Presso K Ultra, 83 grams of water, 210 Fahrenheit. AeroPress filters on top and bottom of the puck. Oh, that sounds pretty good. We're gonna have to recreate that in a future episode. Now it also says a 1 slow pump for 15 seconds, then slap chop. Slap chop. What does that mean? Oh, you mean just like, is that what that means? Slap chop? Like this? Slap chop it until you get the hiss of air. Light roast geisha from B&W was delicious. Nice. 61 gram output. Russell, good morning to you as well. Okay, so I did get this. This is the Able disc. As you can see, I've had it for a long time. I got this. I don't remember if I bought this or if the guys gave it to me or something. But this, if you're not familiar, is an AeroPress disc, right? So you put this at the bottom of your AeroPress, and it's supposed to replace. So here's the crazy thing, right? So, and where's my AeroPress? Over the years that I've been in the business, I started in 2002, and in 2005, Alan Adler, the inventor of a frisbee type of device, came out with this, the AeroPress, right? 2005, and in 2005, he called this like an espresso maker, which the idea is that it's you're giving pressure, so it's a coffee brewed with pressure. So if it's brewed with pressure, then it must be espresso, even though it's nowhere near the pressure we would get from an espresso machine. But that's neither here nor there. So came out with this, and with this you take your paper filter and you put it in. Right, you put it in here. You're really supposed to do this whole operation where you put it all together, and then you add your coffee, add the water, and then you put this in, and then you plunge, right? So the cutesy hipster boys of the coffee industry were like, well, this is not good enough. So people started talking about, let's develop this, which is a mesh, not a mesh, but a perforated steel filter, right? And it's good. It's a good, for a while, everything's like, we're going to do perforated steel filter. So this steel filter, and there's a couple of different models of this out there, and I don't know if Able is still producing. I don't know if they're still in business, but these go at the bottom right here. And then this now goes onto your AeroPress, and you're supposed to use this. You can reuse it without, damaging the environment. We don't want to hurt the environment. We want to save paper, save the trees, right? That's the whole idea, or that's part of the idea behind it, right? Now we are in an era where like someone like Oxo has decided that we're going to put a metal mesh filter on the bottom or for our brewer, right? So in some ways, very similar to this. That's probably I guess one side is going to be larger perforations, and then this side is going to have, I don't know why that is, but I don't know enough about punching stainless, but this is just occurring to me as we're doing this, right? Now we're at a point where like, okay, we're here to save it. We finally gotten companies to put these kind of things to save the environment, but now that's not good enough because now there's too much whatever sediment or whatever inside. So now we're going to use more paper filters, and not just one. We're going to put one at the bottom like this, right? We're going to put one at the bottom, and then we're going to get a second one, and we're going to put it on top of the coffee. And in this particular recipe, not only are we going to add the second one, but we're also going to add the Able. This guy from IntelliJet, I don't know, man. He's a little bit crazy. He's a little bit crazy. I was like, what? I was watching, like, what? You're adding all these filters? Why? He says it's just for fun. So we're going to have some fun and do the same thing. Oh, that is a slap chop. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Now, with the slap chop, should I be like? I'm just doing it here as a demo, right? Just make see. But the question is, with the slap chop, is it like shorter short strokes, or are we going to go full strokes? Oh, oh. And I use 2 AeroPress paper filters. Oh, okay, great. Peter's with us. What's going on, Peter? Have you decided on a bike yet? It has been 2 days. Nate says, yes, Lance style. Oh, so does Lance do this kind of, what is the advantage of this choppiness? Like, why this over finesse? Right? Like, okay, maybe there's a time. So, but tell me, what's the purpose of this? Like, there's always a time for this, right? There's always a moment or two when you need to go at it. But I'm in my development as a person, I have found that sometimes it's much better. The results are more pleasurable when you just finesse it. So tell me, I'm curious to know. Results in a really delicious cup. Oh, okay. So better quality flavor. No crema, but it has a silky mouthfeel and super concentrated flavor. Ooh, all right. Ken says, I use the same recipe myself, Nate, only slightly downscaled. You mean, when you say downscaled, you mean less total volume or just less coffee? Okay, go all the way down with this. Full strokes. Okay, got it. All right. Let's get to our brewing of the fun brew, the hot bloom cold brew. Put the AeroPress away. We don't need the AeroPress. We just need your filters, AeroPress. We don't need you. Okay, so we need 40 grams of coffee. 40 grams of coffee. Kerry says, I've had the OXO brew for a while, but I haven't really used it because I just have been doing espresso and some pour over. I bought it to use when I'm traveling, but that. Yeah, what? I hear you on that. Like I know people on the videos have talked about like, oh, this could be a great replacement for your AeroPress, and you could put this in your bag and take it with you. And you know what? This would not be. This is a relatively compact size thing. And like, for me, what I'd be thinking about is if I take a small baggie, like a sandwich bag full of ground coffee that I will grind beforehand because I don't want to carry a grinder. I want when I travel, I want as compact as possible. I will shove that bag in here and I will eschew this silly tamper because I just don't want to carry more stuff. And so I can then maybe make another small bag and shove it in here if I need more than 1 or 2 coffees. And then I'll put this all together. But honestly, it's relatively compact, but there's weight to it. It's still kind of heavy. How much does this weigh? This weighs 427 grams. So that's a pound. It weighs 1 pound. Do I want to carry that? No, not really. I don't. If I'm on a road trip, maybe, because then I have like my special case with all my coffee gear, and then I can like do that. But honestly, I'd rather, if I'm traveling, especially on a plane, I'd rather just go have coffee somewhere else. And anyway. That's neither here nor there. Let's go back to our coffee. We're measuring 40 grams of coffee. We need 40 grams. 40 grams of coffee. Oops. Again, if you're new to the series, we're using the same coffee with all of the brews that we're using in this series. This is the Misty Valley, made by Abdullah Bagesh from Yirgacheffe in Ethiopia. This is a grade 1 Yirgacheffe, natural process. So we've had different experiences with it, of fruit and raisin, Cabernet Franc. What else have we experienced with this? So it's been an interesting exploration of the coffee. And I don't know if we've ever had any coffee brewed in this, the different recipes we use, I don't know if they've ever matched. Like the flavors don't match between all of them. They're all expressing things in a different way, which is something that I would hope to find in these recipes, is that everything should express differently, meaning that like as you change a recipe, it should express itself differently because you're changing different aspects. Now, the X factor in all this is that the coffee itself is changing. And as we've been going over the last week and a half or so with this series, this coffee will be changing on a daily basis, or could be changing on a daily basis. So you're always kind of playing this, not necessarily catch up, but you're just kind of it's always a chase, right? You're trying to chase. So let's say you have this beautiful brew one day, like today, like in the case of Nate, where he had this geisha. Today it's beautiful. Even if you use the same everything tomorrow, it may be quite different because the coffee may have changed, right? The coffee's always changing. So these are the things that make it interesting to chase and to make coffee, I think. Okay, good. Now we've got our coffee. We have 40.3 grams. Now, the guy from Intelligentsia was like, your grind, you should do it to your taste. Well, what am I supposed to start with, dude? Like, tell us where we're supposed to start, and then we can tailor it to our taste. And so he was like, well, what you might use for an AeroPress. So for me, AeroPress is relatively fine. So we've got our Ode Gen 2 from Philo. And I was grinding yesterday before I went on my road trip. I went to I made a coffee for me, and I used the Clever. So I just put it all the way to full course. So now we're going to back it up and go. See, here it is. See, this is what I'm saying. It is tight. Right here, it's tight. That just sounds terrible. All right, so I've got it set down to about 3. I'm getting this feeling that it's going to explode at some point. You hear this noise, right? And I've always presumed that that's the fluttering, that somehow there's a fluttering of the air currents that creates the noise because of the burrs, the different like teeth on the burrs flying by each other. But today it sounded different. It sounded, not that part sounds fun, but like it just sounded different. There's very much of okay, forget that. Now there's very much of a nice, almost fruity aroma, not fruity, and not maybe jammy. Yeah, more of a jam kind of aroma. Very nice, very pleasant. Kind of what you'd like in an AeroPress, in a natural process coffee. Anton says, "What's going on, Anton? Once I am done eating, I will try. Someday I'll be able to speak. I will try Hacienda La Esmeralda, the natural geisha roasted by April. Oh, nice, very nice." Power Plant says evolution of the beans degassing is the most ethereal bit of coffee making. Oh, very true. Naomi, what's going on, Naomi? Three. It was 3 today. We're trying 3. You can change it as you want. Uh-oh. My transmitter is showing me it's in the red. Do I have any chargers? I don't have any chargers. Well, if I cut out of volume, let me know, and then I'll switch. We'll just switch microphones. Nate says, my grind today was fine, but not espresso fine. Okay, gotcha. Anton says, it's beyond me how you did. Because I got so much to do outside of this show. So, like, once the show's over, once I turn off everything, I'm kind of like, I'm running around. Like today, when we're done, I got to go. I have a meeting at 12, so I got to run out there right away. So And then like my days like take all until into the night. So it's like, man, there's like no, there's no, I don't have that much time to like tear apart like grinders and figure what's wrong with it, which is why I like, and maybe this is an affliction of being in the industry and working professionally, is that, I've always had like larger professional equipment that doesn't break down. It doesn't, like, once you get the right equipment, it doesn't break down very often. And it's very rare for that to happen. And you beat the hell out of it. Like one of my Lumberzoko lineas, it's a 2-group. Like we beat the heck out of that one machine. And like it was leaking and like water was leaking out of the machine and on the group, not a group, but it was all corroded and it just never stopped working. I was like, all right. Finally took it out of service and put another one in, but I was like, oh, good. So I'm really not, I'm like, so yes, if I should, and maybe we'll do another live stream where we'll do something like that, but not yet. Okay, so now we're going to take this apart. And in the Intelligentsia video, right, I did link to it down below. You can see this guy, and we're going to use a filter from the AeroPress. Put that in the bottom. Metal shavings. I don't see metal shavings. And you know what, man? I'm not worried about it. That's why we have filters, right? We have filters. If I was, drinking it and cupping it, maybe. But even the metal shavings will fall to the densities enough, they would fall. So I'm not really too worried about it. Right? Okay, so we got our mesh filter in here. Let's tear it out so we can see how our retention is. Now we're really putting a lot of coffee in this holder, twice than we have been for the other recipes. Oh, wow, this is actually really full. This is more than I expected. Okay, so we've got a lot in there. And the guys from Intelligentsia, they're using the rake. What are you doing? I'm like, what are you doing, man? This stuff is so like coarse. Like, look at this. This is so coarse. Like, you don't need to rake it. Like, I was just like, okay, that's very effective. Why are you raking? Don't rake. And where is my rake? I have a rake. I think it's in the workshop because I've theoretically for the last like 5 months been working on a design for a coffee station, and I've really done nothing on it. It's just sitting there thinking about it. Okay, so we've got our coffee and it's nicely distributed. Now he tamped it, and I'm going to tamp it, but I really don't like this tamper, so we're going to use this tamper. And now the thing is, this is a 58 millimeter tamper. This is like a 60 millimeter space, so we're going to have to tamp and go around, right, like this. This is not proper tamping technique, right? But this is a 42-inch high table, and you get really the ergonomics for me, and I'm only 5'8" or whatever, and like, this is not conducive to ergonomics and avoiding bodily injury, right? And I've always been a big fan. In fact, one of my big things training, all these baristas is to make sure that they don't have injuries or repetitive stress disorders from the craft, right? Like, that's important. And I think that we're teaching techniques that not this, but we're teaching techniques for baristas so that I don't think in the years that I've had baristas, I don't think any of them have had repetitive stress disorder or an injury type of things from the craft. So that's a great thing. That's to me is really what's important. Okay, so we've got a tamped. And Mark is asking, cool shirt, Friday the 13th. Yeah, this is this is actually a shirt from one of the cigar companies. Pete Johnson, a buddy of mine, is the owner of a company called Tatuaje Cigars, and he started this series 15 years ago, where every year for Halloween he released a special cigar release, and this was one of them. I can't remember. This is the Jason. Makes sense, right? Makes sense. And I thought it'd be kind of fun for today. And we've got our paper filter. So another paper filter here on top like this. And then he wants to put in this filter, a metal filter. I don't know what metal filter he used. I can't remember. And if he said it, I didn't really understand. Like he said something else about Fellini. And I was like, what is this Fellini? I have no idea what that means. But we'll put this filter on top because it's fun. Like he said, this is just for fun. It's kind of ridiculous. I think it's kind of absurd, especially since it doesn't really fit. Look how much it moves. To me, that's a lot of movement. Water wants to go path of least resistance. So in my mind, this will encourage the water to skate across this and go around. But there's the paper filter underneath it, which should give more resistance because the paper filter does fit snugly against the rim of our brewer. And why do we not have any? We are out of butane. I need a fresh can. As you might have heard, that was not a successful toss into the bin. I did finally make it to the Asian market and got my 4-pack of good butane. Then I was there, and then I was at another Asian market the other day, and then they had the same thing for like $2 off, and I was like, "Ooh, $2 off! That's worth buying another one." So we are set for a little while. Okay, let's get the water back on the boil. All right, where are we with this? Power plant says using the rake for any filter brew is silly. I totally agree with that. Anton says it's about 10.6 from Chirp with the 0778S. And that's the grind size for soup on the 078S. The Time More, right? Time More. Power Plant's asking, did you catch the latest ep of Alien Earth? I don't know. I watched episode 4. I don't know if episode 5 has dropped. I just watched episode 4 2 nights ago on Tuesday night, and that's the one where the guy, the android or the cyborg from Yutani was threatening the Indian boy's mother. But I have not seen it. I did see the last week's episode of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, which I thought was very funny. Like I thought it was very enjoyable with when they had to become Vulcans. That was good. That was a good one. Even though I ended up reading like a review about it from like, I don't know, some Star Trek fan group or media, like Inverse or something like that, and they were like, they said they liked it, but they thought it was a little bit forced. But I was like, I kind of enjoyed it. I don't need it to be serious, right? And Parplan says Morrow is the goat of the. Which one is Morrow? Oh, and Naomi's now hooked on it. I guess you're meaning that I think you're hooked on Alien Earth. Anton says Fellini is basically refilling the chamber mid-pull to get more liquid. So why is it called Fellini? He said Fellini, and I was like, and I looked it up, and there's a Fellini coffee shop somewhere in the world, and I'm like, what is this Fellini? What is that all about? Oh, it's from lever machines. Okay, gotcha. Oh, so you're kind of like adding more. Naomi says, I missed the beginning. Whose recipe is it? This is Intelligentsia's recipe. If you watch the video, which I've linked down below, it's the very first recipe from their video. Anton says, you have to be very intelligentsia to perform this recipe successfully. I don't think my pants are tight enough. Thank you, Theo. Man, I'm glad you like the shirt. I'm glad you like the shirt. Harpan says, I watched Strange New Worlds as well. The silly episodes are very good. I really enjoyed what did I enjoy from last? The musical episode. I love that. I thought that was good, especially when they had the Klingon singing. And like, oh, that's good. But what I really loved was the crossover with Star Trek Lower Decks. And if you guys are not familiar with what we're talking about, Star Trek Lower Decks, it was an animated comedy series about the people that are not on the bridge. They're on the lower decks, right? The people that are just kind of making the ship happen. And they're not on the Enterprise. They're on a whole nother, like, the hind end of space kind of ship, right? The derelict, not derelict, but like just one that's not like the flagship of the Federation. And it's an animated series. So they brought a couple of the characters from the animated series into Star Trek Strange New Worlds through time travel, and then they actually became live action. It was really kind of fun to watch. I was talking with Tawny Newsom. I asked her at a conference, about things, because I was like, oh man, because I was like, can you tell me about the uniform? Because I would like to make a lower decks uniform, right? And because I was looking at it, I was like, it looks like neoprene, like, because you see a lot of these out there, people making out of fabric and all that, because it's just an animated series, so no one knows. But when the live action finally came out, I was like, that's neoprene. And so she told me it's actually a pullover, it's not a button. And I was like, oh, I guess the way the costume designers made it so that it would be tight on them, they had it as a pullover, not super tight, but just tight enough. All right, so we've got our thing here. We need our middle chamber. Let's put this together, middle chamber. I'm not going to turn it over. And we're going to use this because we're only going to use 50 milliliters. We've got 40 grams of coffee in the chamber. And we need 50 milliliters. And we're going to use not the Brew Assist. Where's the timer? I'm going to use the timer. And I'm going to transfer the water into here because I guess we don't necessarily want it to just straight off the boil. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour it in. What did I say? We're going to pour it in. Wait 30 seconds. I had to take a screenshot of my description. Add 50 milliliters hot water. Connect pump chamber. 1 minute for percolation. Got it. Okay. All right, let's go. Oh, shoot. 53 milliliters. Add that on. Now we're going to wait 1 minute. Let's open this up here. And as you might be able to see, there is no dripping. Oh, I don't know if that doesn't mean, like, we've speculated on whether or not this was an airtight seal, a vacuum type seal, but it looks like it's still falling. Like it's still flowing through. I think that what's happening now is that we've just got so much coffee versus water, plus all the resistance from the 3 different filters that we've added. There's really a total of 4 filters here. There's the OXO or OEM perforated stainless at the very bottom, then an AeroPress, then the coffee, then an AeroPress filter, and then another perforated steel filter. So there's a lot of resistance happening. Oh, 1 minute, 14 seconds. We should pump through. And we're supposed to have a very thick brew. Now, we do, and like, there's a lot of like bubbly crema-ish thing. Look at that. That looks like some kind of gross stuff coming off one of those xenomorphs. Okay, so there it is. We've got this whatever that is, but it's a very thick liquid that has a lot of bubbles. They didn't have the bubbles. Oh, let's taste that. Bitter, rich. interesting smell. I mean, it's a nice quality coffee, so it should be interesting. Now we're going to put this all back together. We're going to stop our timer. We're going to tear it out. Will that reset? Oh, it does reset. Okay, so now we're going to add tepid water, 110 mils of tepid water, meaning that, we have to take this off and then reset the timer. Reset the, oh, gosh. Okay, now we're going to add 110 grams. I want to complain that this is too much to pay attention to, but there's so much happening. But really, it's just. Do we need to set the timer? I don't know. All right, so put this back on top. Connect pump chamber. Push water through with gentle pumps. I guess we don't need to worry about that. So now we will gentle pump it. We're not going to do the, what did you call that harder pump? And one thing about this, it that I kind of like about, oh gosh, it's overflowing. All right, so I'm getting some overflow. Look at this, there's overflow here because there's just too much resistance. So I'm pushing too hard on it. So you can get it to come out. It's coming out. It came out right here at the seam. And I have it lined up. Actually, I have it beyond the line for so if I keep pumping, there's that kind of crema-ish gets developed, right? You can see it right there at the bottom. So that's kind of interesting, I think. Oh, you know what? That smell that I just had, that fruitiness of the coffee is kind of lending a nose that reminds me of a cereal called Fruity Pebbles. Like I'm smelling Fruity Pebbles, which I love Fruity Pebbles, so that's a very pleasant thing for me. Now, what we're going to do is we need to have 500 mils total. Oh, but before we do this, let's taste this concoction. Definitely intense, definitely concentrated, needs a bypass. So if we have, okay, let's measure out how much we actually have here. We've got our scale. And we've got our little carafe. Tear the carafe. I'm going to add this to it. So we have 104 grams of water, of brewed coffee. We want to bring this total volume for service to 500 grams, right? 500 grams, and that's going to be our total gram service. Now, one of the things, this is supposed to be a cold brew. And in the video, he was saying that we want you to add 500 grams and then serve it over ice, which makes me think that it'll be diluted, right? I wonder if it might be better served, since it's still kind of hot, for us to add some amount of ice in lieu of the water. Well, not, but in addition to the water to help with the cooling of the brew. Now, there's a little bit of coffee in here. The OCD part of me wants to utilize it all. So I'm just going to add a little water, add that to it. We're at 121 grams now by doing that. So I think we're going to add some ice to this concoction because I would like to put the chill down and not have so much of a chill factor later, meaning that when you take your if we were to bring this all the way up to 500 grams, even if I'm adding room temperature water like here, and then we add it, we put that over ice, then the ice will still cause some dilution. And I would like to preserve that as much as we can. So I've got a little bit of ice. So we're going to add a little bit of ice to be the, oops. I'm going to add a little bit of ice here to be just the chill factor to bring the temperature down just a little bit. Now, one thing when you're working with ice is water, just frozen. So, but ice, when you freeze water, it expands into ice, right? So volume-wise, it's a lot more volume than it would be weight. So if you're working with ice, you want to make sure you're weighing it just like we'd weigh the water. Now that's really chilled this concoction down quite a lot. And there's still a bit of ice in here. So we're going to add, we got 192 grams. We're going to go all the way up to the 500 grams now that they're asking for. Oops. Be fine. And that additional water will help to, that's at room temperature, will raise the temperature up and will help to melt some of these other ice particulates that we have in here. All right, there it is. There is our brew. Hot brew and cold brew. All right, thanks very much. No, let's have a taste. We'll put it back in the carafe. It's light, it's bright, it's kind of lemony or citrusy. Like, honestly, there's a bit of fruitiness, some of that jammy fruit is still there, but it's also kind of lost a lot of its character in that when it was a thicker concentration, like it has a little more oomph. This is very light. Like, I mean, this, I guess this is the cold brew thing. Like, you want hot weather and something light and easy to drink and kind of refreshing. And maybe that's what this is. All right, let's give it a try as a full-on iced coffee. I've got my tall glass here. And we're going to add it now. Oops, a little more. All right. Itadakimasu. It's more like lemonade. Like, you know, just light, refreshing, a little bit of sweetness. It lacks the weight and heft and body. You know, at this point, I'm wondering, like, is it more like tea? And since I am a big iced tea fan, wouldn't I rather have tea? All right, let's see here. Let's see here. Sorry, I've been a bit. Powerplant says, I dislike the musical eps of any. Come on now. That was a nice, that was all right. It was all right. Not all the numbers were great. I thought them, you know, but it was all right. But I know the actors love them as they are all musical theater kids at heart. I just don't think they serve the story well. But whatever. But you know what? Why would you? So here's the thing. So, like, let's say you're like, we all live our lives, right? And you know, societal pressures suppress us, oppress us, right? We're always oppressed by our societal pressures. But wouldn't you just love a world where, like, I just had the greatest coffee, like, you know, whatever what is happening, you're just like singing. Like, could you imagine what a world that would be? You just break out into song, like, ah. And we talk about things like that. We'll suggest, like, you know, when we have like something that we think is significant, then that's exactly what somebody they'll be like. They'll make fun. They'll poke a joke, be like, oh, but really, wouldn't it be better if we just sang? Like if you just bust. Like I think of West Side Story, and here they are walking around and singing and dancing. Like we should be doing. We should do that. Like, wouldn't you like to be walking down the street like the Jets or the Sharks? Well, sometimes I think I would like that. Anton says every stream I am confronted with a 200-liter limit. Yeah, sorry, I can't do anything about that. I'll write to the president about that. PowerPoint says Anson Mount, who plays Captain Pike, is so damn good in that role. He was previously the lead on Hell on Wheels, a show about the content. Oh, interesting. You know, I met Anson many years ago when he was after he was Pike on Discovery season 2, and I met him after that, and you know, he was really great guy, and he was the one that was like, Strange New Worlds is happening. What? Strange New Worlds is happening. That's awesome. Yeah, I totally agree with you. He's a really wonderful actor in this role. Like he really, from the time that I met him, he really enjoys playing Pike. Like and you know, I know that I've seen him. I think he was just more of a character actor before. Is that right? I don't know. Nobody says I got bubbles in mine too when I make my coffee. Not as much as you that got Bill, because I think he's pumping. I don't know. Powerplant says, this is fun for people who love tepid water through the filters again. That's different. Yeah, you know, he said run, you know, tepid water. Well, he said, what did he say? I used tepid, and I also used room temperature, ambient water. That's what he called it, ambient water. And then people buy extra seal, says Anton, for the OXO to solve this problem. Really? Well, this is the first time we've had this problem. And to be fair, we're putting 40 grams of coffee in it, loading it up with extra filters. So even though you're supposed to, I've heard that the OXO is designed to develop no more than 1 bar of pressure. Like, you know, you're putting 1 bar. They're giving 1 bar of pressure, but you're also giving much more resistance. So I imagine the seals are only designed to last to a certain point, right? And then they'll fail. And we're exceeding that. So, yeah, I don't know. Is it a good thing, bad thing? Who knows? Anton says, we only see crema. That means the water is gone and you're pushing air through. Oh, yes. But we want the crema, don't we? The same happens on the flare when you purge excess water. Oh, okay. On the flare, like, so this tells me that you're taking the flare and then you're coming back and doing it again. Is that right? Because I've only known the flare in the 58 of just going through, you just do the 1 press and then you're done. Right? Or I don't know. Naomi says Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles were my favorite when I was 7. It's still my favorite today, like Fruity Pebbles. We used to make Fruity Pebbles cappuccinos for guests. We would have like Fruity Pebbles milk that we would make and have it. It would be an occasional like special we would run. Haraplant says, I never got sugary cereals when I was a child, only rolled oats. God, who were your parents? Rolled oats, bro. Man. Like, if ever I had to, like, deal with, like, grape nuts, I was upset. Even, like, Rice Krispies, like, what? Rice Krispies? Where's the sugar? Give me some corn puffs. What's it? What, sugar, Super Sugar Crisp, Lucky Charms. What else? We have Corn Pop. Was it Corn Pops? The corn one, I like those. Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch was right. You know what I really loved? I loved Honeycomb. Honeycomb was another one. So for me, Fruity Pebbles, Honeycomb, Blueberry. Those were like my favorite cereals. Nowadays, I'll eat like grape nuts, and I will enjoy it. You know what's really good too now? If you want to be an adult and like have like cereal, grape nuts, and it's hard to find. Grape Nuts makes a version of grape nuts called Grape Nuts Flakes. Man, that's good. That is so good. I love it. The only box cereals when I was allowed were grape nuts and unfrosted shredded wheat. Like I don't like shredded wheat with the frosting. Like I can't imagine like how bad my childhood would have been with unfrosted shredded wheat. I'm sorry, man. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The brew looks like it go well with the orange. It would be. Oh, speaking of orange, so we should go try it with our crumble. My niece is really into crumble cookies. And if you're not familiar with crumble, crumble is this company that makes cookies, and they're big, large cookies. And they came to the house the other day, and like they brought some, and you really can't finish these things. So these are my leftover crumbles, and this one is a strawberry with cream, and you can see. Look at this is half. This is almost half of the cookie, right? So there's the strawberry. With strawberry, we're gonna try the range of these that I have, and they brought chocolate chip. It's a chocolate chip. And then this is the one that everybody seems to love. This is the Dubai, the one that has chocolate and brownie and not kunafa, kataifi. Kataifi? Is that what it's called? I'm getting confused again. Kunafa is this dessert that I love from the Middle East, where you're taking. Is it kataifi? Basically, it's like vermicelli, fried vermicelli noodles or baked vermicelli noodles. They're crispy, and there's pistachios and there's honey and there's this type of like salted cheese. I forgot the name of the cheese. I think it begins with an N, and it's heated on a plate, and you get it served, and it's got the honey sauce on top, and you drink it with coffee or with tea. Man, it is so good. Kunafa. I wish I could find a place that had good kunafa that I could like go to. We don't have those things here in Baltimore. Just don't have them. Naomi says, I love grape nuts too. We always had it in my house because my mom liked it. See, when you're older, you like it, right? Power Plant says, when I lived in South Korea, I would make 1 liter batch of cold brew and bypass it in a glass with ice and milk. Now I've lost it. Wow, I really kind of fall behind. Oh, so good. Banana milk. Oh, banana milk. Oh, with banana milk. That is good. That's good. If you guys are not watching it out from a banana milk, you can just make by yourself. You take ripe bananas, like the Cavendish banana. You could use any kind of bananas if you have the small bananas, like you have those, and just put them in a blender. Unwrap them and put them in a blender. Add regular whole milk. Blend that sucker. Oof. Oof. Korean summers are in the mid 90s and 95 to 100% humid. Oof, man, too heavy. In Japan, they call it banana latte. Ooh, nice. I think so. You can. Yeah. No, sorry. Yeah, try it tomorrow. It's good. Just take your oat milk and do it. That's really nice. It's really, really nice. Actually, I think I have a video about making one on the Spro Coffee channel. If you go to Spro Coffee, we have a whole series of videos that I released a few years back where I actually show you how to make pretty much our entire menu from that era. Like we go through different videos and we show you like each process and how to put it together and how we make it. And it's really kind of like a tutorial on how to make cafe drinks. And I was like, what else are we going to do on YouTube? Give away our secrets. Power Plant says it's not banana milk, but a frozen banana and some milk. Milk is always right. Milk, you mean malt? Oh, malt. Maybe you're saying malt. You can tell if it's a gold cup if I break it out on my coffee. Nice coffee code. Shulman from Momofuku Milk Bar was awesome. And now I lost it. The cereal milk from Momofuku was a revelation. I have my thoughts on Momofuku Milk Bar, so I will remain silent. I can find grape nuts at Walmart. Yeah, grape nuts. Grape nuts you can get at the grocery store too. At like regular grocery stores. Grape nuts it's been part of the Americana for like 100 years, I think. Now I like it. And here's a little secret for you. So if you make malted milk ice cream, like if you decide I'm going to make an ice cream, I'm going to make use your base, whatever base you're using, and add malt to it, right? The malted stuff. And then spin it. So you'll spin it. Like I don't know if you have like you do it by hand or if you have got a little tabletop or like one of those like those scrapers that you freeze, you scrape it and it scrapes it, or if you actually have an actual like machine, spin it and then pump it out so that it's like that soft serve consistency. So malted ice cream, add grape nuts to the mix, hard freeze it. That was a, oh, no, that's not right. I'm not, you could do that, or you can make a brown butter ice cream. Actually, what I'm saying, you make a brown butter ice cream. So you get brown butter. So, you take butter, put it on a pan, heat it slowly until it browns. Use that as an additive to make your ice cream. So brown butter ice cream, and then you mix in the grape nuts. Oh my God. There's a company called Scoops in Los Angeles. And it's just like maybe 15 years ago, we're there, and my sister-in-law was living there and with my brother at the time, and they took me to Scoops, and they were like, this is the best ice cream ever. Brown bread ice cream, mother of God, it was good. We made it several times because we were able to finagle the recipe from them, and like that's if you like grape nuts, you'll like that. My son loves crumble, says Naomi. I don't like them at all. Too sweet. I did try the cornbread one. I haven't tried that one yet. That was interesting, but I'd rather have actual cornbread. True. Power Plant says crumble cookies are cakey and just wrong to me. They are very, very cakey. The best cookies are thin, crispy edge, and chewy center. Yeah, these are very cakey cookies, which is probably why I still have them after all this time. Although this one is a departure. This is not cakey, but this one is actually pretty good. And they're kind of expensive. They're like $5 a piece. But let's taste. I'm going to taste this one. I think, though, honestly, let's go to the strawberry one first, because the reason I was thinking strawberry is because this has this lighter, fruitier kind of character. So let's do that. So it's got icing on top. As you can see, like Power Plant saying, it is more, uncooked. So if you're a big fan of cookie dough, you'll love this. This is like right up your alley, right? So I prefer to have my cookies cooked. Oh, actually, that's very fruity, and it actually the brightness of the coffee enhances the strawberry flavor of the cookie. Like it really kind of accentuates that sweetness, the strawberry, the fruitiness, like beyond that it did when I'm just eating it. Actually, oh, that's really great. This is more like tea to me, at least in character. Right? It's not very heavy, very light, very easy to drink. I think a lot of times with iced tea, the flavor is not terribly invasive. And coffee typically to me is invasive as a flavor on your palate. This particular version, very much like tea in that it's not very invasive. Malk is a brand of alternative. Oh, gotcha. CUNY's asking, I wonder if they will be keeping to the original Star Trek dimensional universe, as it seems there's been some discussion that there's been some dimension tapering in some past. So there has been some, and Strange New Worlds has taken some I don't know if liberties, but they in order to expand the world of Star Trek, they have to take. I mean, they're going to do certain things, right? And so, but Strange New Worlds. So Discovery, and one of the reasons why I'm sure they sent Discovery 300 years in the future is because, well, we've got or 800, 900 years in the future is because in 200 years, we still have TOS. I mean, TNG, and now we've got Strange New Worlds, which is happening which started 5 years prior to the original series. And you've got to try to you can tell the Pike story, but you also got to they also are respecting the original material, so they've got to find a way to build everything to end up where the original series begins. And it's been interesting because slowly they've added Uhura and Pike. I mean, they've added Uhura and now Scotty. They have Spock, and so they're kind of showing how Spock and Kirk meet. And now this last one with Kirk and Scotty getting along really well and working together. It's really kind of an interesting flow, but it also brings up good questions. Like, you've got people like the Navigator, Melissa Nava's character, and the other girl, Mitchell. What happens to them? I'm curious to know what's going to happen to them when the new series begins, right? Where the original series will take off. Like, what's going to happen? There's a whole bunch of characters, even like Pelia, which is the engineer. What is her name? Now I can't remember her name offhand. But what happens to them in the larger set? So it's an interesting proposition, I think, and how they're going to do it. Oh, but dimensional tampering, what happened when... I mean, I don't know. I think one thing with Star Trek is not, with any kind of like series, is not to get too stuck on like the technical aspect of it, because, it's like, it's kind of like Battlestar Galactica, 30,000 humans left in humanity, right? Skirting across the galaxy, the universe, to try to find this place called Earth. 30,000, maybe only 28,000 arrived here on the planet 150,000 years ago. Was that enough people? Was that enough to seed this planet and create the 8 billion people we have today? Right? Like, or like, I don't maybe not get too, like, for example, like I just saw this meme this morning. It's kind of funny. Evidently Elon Musk came out recently and was like, in order for us to get to the moon with current technology on the SpaceX platform, we're going to need 8 to 10 refuelings. And I was like, to the moon? What are you talking about? And this one guy wrote like a comment, and he was like, talking about how that it made some kind of commentary about like we need to get 8 to 10 refuelings, whereas back in the 60s we flew there in one big rocket, which is smaller than the biggest rocket on SpaceX, right? We flew there in one big rocket with like less computer power than a calculator. And he was like, and you people believe we landed on the moon? I was like, oh God, who knows? Who knows, man? Who knows? So maybe not to think too much about those kind of details. Anton says the best cookies are Took cookies. Took. I see that, and I'm like, ooh, it looks like Tupac. Power Plant says you may not care for the company or Tossie, but Milk Bar was extraordinary for its time. Our current baking landscape, well, I don't know about that. I think that's a bit reaching. Yeah, I think that's a bit reaching. Anton says that geisha is pretty good. Ooh, nice. And Papa says the only good thing it did in Discovery was allow for more. I like Discovery. I really enjoyed Discovery. And you know what? I know a lot of people that are Star Trek people really don't like. They don't like Discovery. But really, had it not been for Discovery, like where we are now in the Star Trek like offering, may not be the same, right? It may not even have. They came up, Paramount took a chance with Discovery, and it did well. And that springboarded, Strange New Worlds and Section 31 and Lower Decks. I wish, and I like Section 31, the movie. I wish they would like make that. I would like to see Michelle Yeoh's be expanded into more of a series. I'll be like, okay, good. But what I really would like is for us to return to larger network schedules, right? If you go to the regular networks, it's typically a 23 episode season, whether it's 1 hour or half an hour. This 10 episode is stressful. Like right now we're at episode 8. We just had episode 8. Now we're 9 and 10, like 2 more episodes. And then we have to wait another 2 to 3 years. Oh man, it's like the BBC all over again. Curie says it's just a Pike character so well liked, and with the original storyline, his future is his future is dismal. And I'm hoping they don't really do too much of that Deus Ex Machina kind of thing to save him. They have offered like an additional timeline where he doesn't necessarily have that fate, but I think that's what makes it so interesting, that we know that it's coming, and in this storyline, he knows that it's coming. He's already been. He had some kind of premonition, or was foretold that he was going to have this horrific experience. Oh, and Star Trek Academy is coming. They're also in post-productions. But here's the thing that I'm kind of confused about Star Trek Academy. I felt like they made a big deal about Tilly going to Star Trek Academy, and while we were in Discovery. In a couple of the trailers that I've seen of Academy, where's Tilly? Like, where is Tilly? Like, I like Tilly's character. I think she'll be kind of. I'm interested to see what she does in the Academy. And then, that's another thing I wanted to mention. Like, I mentioned that Mitchell, the other navigator on the show. Like, every time I see her, I'm always excited. Like, I'm always like, oh, thank God she's there again. Because, she's one of those characters that's really, not a main character. She's a principal character because she talks, right? And she talks sometimes. She doesn't talk other times. And, in season 2, we saw her, at the very beginning, and then we don't see her again. And so this time we saw her at the very beginning. I was like, awesome. And then we saw her, and then we didn't see her for one episode. I was like, oh, no. They deleted her again. But then she was back. So I'm like, and she's just a more smaller actress from Canada. She's a Canadian actress. And just because I like to see another Asian person and a woman, doing something on the show, it's like, all right, good. We have more diversity. And I'm interested to see how they're going to bring Sulu into how are they going to introduce Sulu, and how are they going to introduce the Doctor? That's what I'm interested to know. I'm interested to see as we go forward with Strange New Worlds. Marcus says, given you like sci-fi shows, you might like Seth MacFarlane's The Orville. It's inspired by Star Trek, but less. Oh man, very much so. That was but I gotta say, Orville. If you watched it, Orville does they do some interestingly serious kind of topics on it, like abortion and gay rights. They've done things like totalitarianism, and it's like, oh, interest, like very, very. I think that's a well done show. Like when it first came out, people were thinking, oh, it's kind of a spoof, kind of a parody, but really, I think it's become its own show. It's become a solid show in its own right, and I wish they would be able to produce more episodes, more seasons. There's always rumors that they're trying to, but right now I don't think they're even close to coming up with another season for it. And Ton says, one of the great things about the Orville, it really is an excellent show to watch. And they won't do that because, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's so much, but I want to say maybe part of it, maybe one particular benefit with shorter seasons, maybe they could build better budgets. Who knows? Power Plant says Nurse Chapel and Dr. Mbenga were also there. I understand. I never really watched a lot of. I watched them as a child, but I don't really remember a lot of it. And Naomi says, "Gonna check out the Orville too. You guys had some great suggestions. That's a good show. If you like these sci-fi shows, I think also Resident Alien is a fun show to watch. I just downloaded the most recent season, which I think is going to be the last season. So I haven't started watching that. What other shows were really good? If you really want to see a show that's kind of interesting, that's sci-fi, and I can't remember. Maybe one of you guys have seen it. Remember, there was a mini series that was released 10 plus years ago, probably, and it was about a generational ship traveling to space. I think they were going to like Alpha Centauri or something, and this takes place in the mid-generation. So there's a generation that launched in the platform. They had children. They died. These are the children now getting into adulthood. But it's such a far journey to Alpha Centauri. They will live and die on this vessel. They will never see Earth. They will never see their destination. It will be their children that will actually arrive at the destination. And in the show, there's a murder with a gun, but there's no guns on the ship. So how did this gun get on the ship, and how did this person die? It's kind of interesting. But I'll tell you a spoiler, because you may never see it. But the real thing that was like was that there's a murder, and then they have this reveal where like they're in a ship, they're in a vessel, in a simulation to see if humans can actually make it 100 years on a ship. And you're like, oh my God, man, these people were like, you sent these people on this ship, you simulated this ship in a sealed container, had them live, had them die, have them live, have children, died, then their children on this boat, they're going to live on this boat and they're going to die on this boat and never know that they never left Earth. And I was like, oh my God, craziness. There's craziness. All right, let's get to this last one. This is the Dubai, and the Dubai is super popular now. We got brownie, kataifi. Is that kataifi? I think it's called kataifi. And then chocolate and pistachio, and I think there's some honey on it. Nice brownie too. Look at that. So this is a play on the kunafa, right? That I was telling you about earlier. It's slightly crunchy because the vermicelli noodles are crunchy. Now with the chocolate, now the coffee gets that kind of bitterness, right? That's where the coffee kind of shows its bitterness. Whereas if it was regular tea, it would be a different character. Naomi says, love Raisin Alien, so cute. Oh, why'd you like it? And PowerPoint says, Apple has the best, which reminds me, another great sci-fi, or I guess sort of sci-fi, sort of reality, augmented reality maybe, is For All Mankind. The exec producer of that, or the producer of that, is the same guy that produced Battlestar Galactica in 2003. And I think For All Mankind is an excellent watch. Naomi says, the thing is, I don't typically like sci-fi at all, so I'm surprised I've been hooked on these shows. Ah, nice. Half a day to you, Andrew. Apple TV Silo. I have not seen Silo, Foundation, Dark. I've only seen For All Mankind. I need to check out those other ones. I don't have enough time to sit down. Like I've got, what do I have? I've got Resident Alien queued up. I have the last episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi to watch. I still have the current series, which is Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, and Alien Earth. The latest, the episodes that are dropping this week. I'll watch those maybe tomorrow. But gosh, the other ones, like, how do you catch up? I don't know. Nobody says, gotta take a screenshot of your suggestions. Nice. Definitely do that. All right. Well, like I said, I do have an appointment at 12, so I got to get running. But this was the Hot Bloom Cold Brew from Intelligentsia. We're going to try more. He has 3, so we're going to try the other 2. I don't know what they are yet. I watched them once, like last week, a week and a half ago, and then I had watched them since. So I'll watch them again tonight so we can prepare notes for you. All right, so Andrew says it'd be interesting to see where the show Sugar goes. Oh, Sugar. I'm not familiar with that one. I'll have to look that up as well. Nobody says I have time to watch shows between 7. Gosh, I'm not done until 9. Like I normally don't get ready to wind down to like watch something or do something until about 9 o'clock. And it's like last night, I just set a fire outside and just sat there, listened to a podcast, had a cigars. All right. Until tomorrow, back again tomorrow with another episode of the Coffee Q&A to end out the week. So hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day or evening or afternoon. And be back again and see you soon. Right? Ooh, War of the Worlds. I'll check that out too.